Alright, I figured I might as well knock out one more video while I still have time. I'll save the other two, the ones that I'm already late for tomorrow. But I definitely want to fucking get into this one since the iron is hot.
In April 2025, a peaceful tourist town in Kashmir turned into a nightmare.
28 people are reported to have been killed after gunmen opened fire on
Holy
tourists
shit.
in Indian-administered Kashmir.
What the fuck?
Why would they do that?
Group of
Oh,
armed terrorists
no, for real. Why would they do that, Asmon? I don't know. Let's find out, right?
stopped travelers and began asking one terrifying question: are you Hindu or Muslim? If the
Oh my god. Here
That
we
sounds a
go.
lot like terrorism to me. And then they shoot them if they say that they're not like the right one.
answer didn't match, they opened fire.
Right, of course.
26 innocent tourists were killed. One woman crying over her husband's body.
See, this is one of the big differences that a lot of people don't really understand, is that
Dude, this
the
is
difference
oh my
between a
God.
war and terrorism is that these terrorists actively target civilians and they kill civilians specifically. They don't go in trying to attack a military base and civilians get killed in the process.
Yeah, because they know they don't have the firepower to do that. Because if they did, they would have already done that. And on top of that, they know they'll just get fucking wrecked. Like, instant wrecked.
Process. They don't, you know, like, they don't try to bomb a place where there are a military area and there's casualties of, like, collateral damage. These people actively target civilians.
The innocents, yeah. People
They
who
do.
can't
They
fight back.
actively target them.
Begged the attackers
Yeah,
to
they're looking
shoot
for
her
easy
too.
wins. Yeah, yeah. It's like in Rust, where like you're sitting out there on the beach, ready to shoot some new person.
Terrorist laughed, telling her to go tell India's prime minister. Since that moment, India's people are furious. The
Yeah, I would
army
be too.
is on alert. Pakistan is getting nervous. And now,
Yeah, they
the big
fucking should
question
be.
is,
Well, why would Pakistan be nervous? Shouldn't Pakistan use their own military to?
I
find
mean,
out
dude, they're
maybe-
not gonna do that. This is the same fucking goddamn country or whatever that harbored fucking Osama bin Laden. Like, they're literally doing that with Hamas right now. And I think the Houthis or whatever.
insurgency terrorist groups are and get rid of them themselves? Because like if they have a terrorist group in their country, isn't that a problem for Pakistan?
Yeah.
And if that's not a problem for Pakistan, then that sounds like Pakistan is a problem. That's what I would say.
So
That's
it's
their
like literally common
responsibility.
sense.
is the next war loading in 2025? Let's go back, see how it all began.
What is this?
At the time of independence in 1947, British India was
When they
divided
separated.
After World War
into two
II.
separate nations. India, which had a Hindu majority population, Pakistan, created as a
Muslim majority.
homeland for Muslims. But the split wasn't as clean as drawing a line on a map. It was violent, brutal, and deeply personal. Over 15 million people were forced to move. Muslims from India
Holy
to Pakistan,
shit.
and Hindus and Sikhs from Pakistan to India. Entire families uprooted. Trains filled with refugees arrived.
Why is Britain over there fucking
Bumping
why
ass
are
to
they
raw.
putting civilization over in
Hitting
India?
you over passing odds, you know, just fucking. Yeah, like if the crops fuck up, it's just whatever. You know, it's whatever.
Spices? This is ridiculous. This is why this
Like,
is,
oops,
by
we
the way,
fucked up the colony,
This
it's
is
whatever.
why a lot of the world hates the West. It's because of bullshit like this. This is a country that they're not even next to. They're in a totally different fucking place. And now they're trying to play fucking, you know, I don't know, civilization, playing Risk with this country.
Playing risk, yeah.
It's
So I was
insane.
saying, ah, fuck it. If it works,
The
it works.
spice
It
must
doesn't.
flow, I guess
Yeah,
so.
Whatever.
But I just wanted you guys to see, this is the reason, and by the way, it doesn't excuse terrorism. Obviously, it doesn't excuse terrorism. It doesn't
No,
excuse
sir,
it
it
to
does
happen.
not.
But like, if you were in one of these countries and your family got displaced, yeah, I wouldn't like Britain either.
Slaughtered. Neighborhoods that had coexisted for centuries turned on each other overnight. It became one of the biggest and bloodiest migrations in human history, with over 1 million people dead.
Wow.
That trauma didn't just
Yeah, that's a fucking lot, dude. That's a whole lot, man. 1 million people dead? Fuck.
turned into resentment, and the cracks
My
only
bad.
got deeper. One of the biggest cracks, a paradise called Kashmir.
Why aren't they mad at Britain? Because I feel like Britain is the one that.
Because the last people that they want is like, because there's like levels to it, dude. Like the last person that they'd want is like fucking, you know, like Britain in there type shit. Like they'd rather have to deal with like other people who kind of share their religion but not really, you know, type
Did
shit.
this, not even Pakistan and India.
Kashmir was, and still is,
They
one of
are?
the most breathtaking places in the world.
That's a really
Snow-capped
nice place.
peaks, peaceful lakes,
Wow.
lush green valleys, a literal heaven on earth.
They're too
but
far away.
politically, it's been a hell. When the British left, they gave over 560 princely states like Kashmir a choice. Join India, join Pakistan, or stay independent. The ruler of Kashmir, Maharaja Hari Singh, was a
Yeah.
Hindu, but most of the people in Kashmir were Muslim. The Maharaja wanted to stay independent, not join either India or Pakistan.
Uh-oh.
Then, in
Oh,
October
shit.
1947, tribal militias from Pakistan, backed by its army, launched an invasion into Kashmir to force it into Pakistan. In
Of
panic,
course.
Well, I mean, that's
Of
pretty
course.
one-sided, isn't it?
the Maharaja
How did I
turned
not
to
know?
India for help. India agreed, but on one condition: Kashmir must officially become part of India. The Maharaja signed the instrument of accession, legally joining Kashmir to India. And
Okay.
Indian troops flew in to push back the attack.
Want to blame Britain now? Yeah, of course, because Britain are the ones that started this. Just because Britain isn't responsible for every action along the chain doesn't mean that Britain didn't light the fuse.
Brian started the fire. It was
Just
always
like that,
burning,
the
just
First
the words for
Indo-Pak
turning.
War began. That war ended in 1948 with a ceasefire brokered by the United Nations.
And also, it doesn't mean Pakistan is like, look. It doesn't mean Pakistan is good. Like, obviously, I mean, these people are they're awful terrorists, right? That are like going in here and killing like civilians. Yeah, not everybody in Pakistan, obviously. Before somebody tries to take that out of context again.
Yeah, dead ass.
But
Someone's gonna try to
like
fucking
the people
turn
that
that
are
against
going
you.
in and forcing these
Just like
military
fucking Alonzo,
insurgency
but like,
groups,
they're not
they're
everybody in
awful people.
Palestine is
They're
fucking terrorists.
They're
Yeah, like no
terrorists.
shit, dude.
Of course. But if you can't see the downstream effect of this nation building and imperialism and how this creates these structural problems, I don't know what to
Yeah,
tell
they
you.
did kind of hoe him over.
Two things can be
Like,
wrong
that.
at
Like
the
they
same
kind of like
time.
set them up for failure.
And like, do you know what I'm saying? Not just Britain. Do you know how like I've criticized like Hassan, for example, for not being able to like acknowledge that, you know, there are bad actors on both sides? I think that we're doing the same thing by not acknowledging that Britain was also a bad actor in this situation as
Oh,
well.
100%.
I do. I think we're doing the same thing. We shouldn't do that. Look, here's my point.
Yeah, we probably
I think
shouldn't
that
do
the
it anymore.
amount of imperialism and the amount of oversight that foreign countries do on countries that do not have the same race, culture, traditions, or religion as them, making decisions for them, enforcing their will on these countries, I think this is a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
It
just gonna,
is, and I
you know,
think
see-
historically,
it's just gonna
this
show,
can be
like,
proven
sow
in so many
resentment.
cases, and
Sow
I think
the
a lot of
seeds
the
of
current
resentment.
conflicts that we have right now
Are
are the
from
result
that,
of
yeah.
that happening.
Yeah.
So I don't see how you can ignore that. I don't see how you can say that's not happening. You don't lose anything by acknowledging that this is true. It doesn't mean that the West is evil or the West is bad. It just means that maybe we shouldn't meddle in people's affairs so much, and then maybe it wouldn't create these problems that happen down the line. It's
Yeah,
it's not
that's fair
unreasonable to
enough.
think that way. There's nothing that's unreasonable about this at all. If you're going around and you're fucking taking over countries and then trying to make decisions for them, you're going to have problems.
Yeah, we're gonna
I
start
don't know
fucking
what to
hating you.
say.
You're not gonna be able to
That
keep
war
track
ended
of
in
everything. You're gonna start falling
1948
apart.
with a
You're gonna have
ceasefire
riots,
brokered
revolts.
by the United Nations.
Anyway.
But the damage
Not
is
ceasefires,
done.
like, you know,
Kashmir was now divided.
protests. I
India
know I said
controlled
ceasefire.
about 2/3 of the region. Pakistan controlled the rest, which it still holds today as POK, or Pakistan Occupied Kashmir.
Okay.
POK. The UN called for a referendum to let the people of Kashmir decide their future. But that
Fire.
vote never happened. And since
Of course it didn't.
Surprise.
Of course.
Man, that sucks.
then, Kashmir has remained the bone of contention in every major conflict between the two nations. India and Pakistan have fought 4 wars in total. 1947
Jesus.
to 48, the first war, right after partition over
It's
Kashmir.
about to be 5.
1965, another full-scale war,
Holy
again
shit.
over Kashmir. 1971, the most devastating war, but this time not about Kashmir. It was about East Pakistan, where India supported the independence movement that eventually created Bangladesh. 1999, Kargil War.
Wow.
Pakistani soldiers and militants
I didn't even know about this.
disguised as locals infiltrated Indian territory in the Kargil region. India launched a massive counterattack operation and pushed them back.
Wow.
In each of these wars, India emerged stronger militarily. But the cycle of hatred and mistrust never broke. And when war didn't work, Pakistan tried something else. By the early 2000s, a new kind of war had begun. A shadow war.
Shadow
Terrorism
boxing.
became the weapon of choice.
It
Yep.
does seem like, I mean, again, this video could be biased, but from this, the way the video is prescribing this, it seems like Pakistan is the aggressor in every single one of
100%.
these instances.
Because they fucking are.
That they're the ones that are starting at every
Allegedly.
single one.
Instead of soldiers crossing the borders with tanks, militants
The
crossed
video could be biased. It's important to keep in mind.
quietly with backpacks, guns, and suicide vests. Attacks on civilians
Classic.
became a tool to destabilize India, especially in Kashmir. One
That
of the most
rocket like
horrific
misfire?
examples, Mumbai, 2611. On the night of November 26, 2008, 10 terrorists from Pakistan arrived by boat on the shores of Mumbai, armed with AK-47s, grenades, and explosives. They split into teams and launched simultaneous attacks across the city. The Taj Mahal
Wow.
Hotel, the Oberoi Trident
Holy shit.
Hotel, Cafe Leopold, a Jewish community center, Shivaji train station. For nearly 60 hours, Mumbai turned into a war zone. More than 170 people died,
Jesus
including
Christ.
American, Israeli, and British citizens. Over 300 were injured. The only surviving attacker, Ajmal Kasab, was captured alive. His interrogation revealed detailed planning and training, all traced back to Pakistan-based
That's
terror
brutal.
group.
Yeah, at least they got him, dude, you know? Fucking kill all of them and leave one to tell the tale.
Lashkar-e-Taiba. Then came Pulwama in 2019. A suicide bomber rammed a vehicle
Holy
full
shit.
of explosives into a convoy of Indian paramilitary forces.
So it's just every time. I mean, why can't Pakistan keep these people under control?
Because they don't want to. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't get it. Video is probably biased, but with my knowledge of the situation, Pakistan is more of an incentive to be aggressive than India. Video's biased? You think video's biased? Okay.
in Pulwama district,
100%.
Kashmir. 40 soldiers were killed instantly.
100% it's not.
It was the deadliest attack on Indian security forces in decades. The terror group, Jaish-e-Mohammed, based in Pakistan, claimed responsibility. India's response? Swift and bold. In the
I would
early
assume so.
hours of February 26, 2019, Indian Air Force jets crossed the border and bombed a terror training camp in Palakkad, Pakistan.
Got
This
'em.
was unprecedented. The first airstrike on Pakistani soil since 1971. Pakistan responded by
Pretty long
sending its
time
own
ago.
jets,
Literally
leading
like
to a
50 years
short
ago.
but intense dogfight. One Indian pilot, Inhanandan Varthaman, was captured, but returned 2 days later as a peace gesture. The world watched nervously.
That's good.
Two nuclear-armed nations, one spark away
Oh my god, they do have
from
new
disaster.
fuck.
But the situation de-escalated. for
That's
the
nice.
moment. Still, the attackers never fully stopped. Cross-border terrorism continued. Sleeper cells were busted. Indian security forces worked round the clock to prevent further strikes. But everything changed on April 22nd, 2025.
So this is the shit that just happened.
Oh man, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
In Pahalgam, Kashmir, The scenic town of
was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, yeah.
nestled in the Kashmir Valley, is
We're getting
known
into
for
the
its
meats
tranquil
and
beauty,
bones.
horse rides through pine forest and peaceful rivers. Every year, it's a draw in thousands of tourists from across the country and abroad. But that day became a killing field. Tourists,
Christ.
like always, had arrived to enjoy the mountains. Vehicles can't go deep into the region, so most visitors hop on horseback and local guides to explore. Among them was a woman from central India, accompanied by her husband. Their horse guide chatted with them, but something about him was off.
Okay.
He wasn't just asking friendly touristy questions. He started probing. Where are you from? Have you read the Quran? Are
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Here it is. All right. Yeah, I didn't
Like,
see
what's
any
it
of
to
this
you,
at
pal?
all. Holy shit, man.
Are you Hindu or Muslim? The woman tried to brush it off, but then she heard him whisper on a call.
Wait, so they just okay.
Go with plan B. Guns are in place.
Panic surged through her veins. She discreetly messaged India's intelligence tip line, a hotline most tourists wouldn't even know about. But
What
before
the
the
fuck?
agency could act, it was already
They're all
too
dead.
late. Around 6 to 7 armed men dressed like locals suddenly appeared out of nowhere. Not military
Why?
uniforms, civilian clothes, horses, and hidden weapons.
Yeah, sure.
But what they carried wasn't small arms. It was full-blown automatic weapons.
Holy
They
shit.
started
The
pulling
fuck?
terrorists off horses, shouting at them, "Are you Hindu or Muslim?" If Muslim, read the Quran. If not, they opened fire. Bullets flew in all directions. Screams echoed through the valley. The attackers didn't care if there were women, children, or elderly. Anyone
Wow.
who couldn't answer in the way they wanted was shot. 26 innocent tourists
Holy
died on the
shit.
spot. One woman lost her husband right in front of her eyes. Through tears, she shouted at the attackers, "You killed him? Kill me too!" But the response was chilling.
That's
One of the
oh,
terrorists
man, dude.
sneered
I don't even know
and
what I
said,
would do.
"No, go tell your prime minister what happened today." And then he laughed. A laugh that still
She should have
Well,
tried
didn't
to
they just
grab.
get
She wanted to
bombed
die
yesterday?
that
So
bad.
that
She
would
could have tried
really,
to grab
you
one of their
know,
guns.
That didn't really work out too well for them, did it? Yeah.
rings in the ears of many Indians who heard her testimony.
They
The
want
country
war? Think so?
erupted in grief and then in fury. Across social media,
Yeah, I
protests,
bet.
news channels, there was only one question. How long will we tolerate this?
Oh,
This
man,
wasn't
yeah.
just a terror attack.
It
This was
fucked up.
psychological warfare. A brutal reminder that terrorism in Kashmir isn't gone. It's just evolved. And once again, all eyes turned toward Pakistan. Because here's the truth. Attacks like these aren't random. They don't come out of nowhere. These are
100%.
trained operatives, supplied,
what?
funded, and sheltered, not by rogue street gangs, but by organized networks, many of which have found safe havens across the border. India's intelligence agency
That's insane, man. Like, it's hard to know, like I said before, right? It's always hard to know, like, if this kind of stuff is biased or not. But I don't know what to
don't
say.
think it is,
keeps
man.
saying this was in
He keeps
Same
telling
thing
the
with a
same
different
it's the
name.
truth type
not
shit.
every Muslim is a terrorist. I mean, obviously, like, it's look, religious extremism is bad no matter what you're doing, right? I mean, like, I
Yeah,
don't
but
know
once you
why
start
it's hard
doing
to
shit that
understand.
actually affects
like,
people-
this is my stance on it. All religious
it's-
extremism is bad.
It's more than just
Any
extremism
group
at
that
that point.
uses
It's like
their
actually
religion
terrorism.
to be violent to civilians and commit terrorist activities, I
Yeah.
think should be completely annihilated. That's why I pay my taxes to the military. That's what I want the military to do.
100%. 100%.
So that's it, right? I mean, and so, like, it doesn't matter. Is it disproportionately
Like all these
affecting one
gymnastics
religion or
and
another? It doesn't matter. Even if it only
Mind
affects one
gymnastics.
religion, it doesn't matter because it's the action that's the problem, not the religion.
began tracing the attackers' origins. Early reports suggested ties to a radicalized splinter group operating out of Pakistan-administered Kashmir. The government didn't realize all the details, but what came out was enough. And
Yeah.
India's response? It wasn't immediate missiles or strikes. It was something smarter. Enter the water war.
What?
Let's rewind to the 1960s for a moment. India
water
and
war?
Pakistan signed the Indus Waters Treaty, brokered by the World Bank, under it. Pakistan would get unrestricted access to the Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab rivers. India would control the Ravi, Beas, and Sutlej. This was meant to prevent disputes over water, a resource both countries rely on heavily.
Of course.
But post-Pahalgam, India began
It's
review.
crazy how I can see why they're fighting over this shit. This looks really nice. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
that
that
looks like
amazing.
a map for Battlefield 2042
Bro, like that's out of a video game.
type shit.
Post-Pahalgam,
Yeah.
India began reviewing the
Think it's
treaty,
AI?
and in
I
a
don't know.
bold but silent move, India started diverting excess water that traditionally flowed into Pakistan. Not cutting off water, but minimizing the outflow legally within treaty terms.
That's
it was
pretty
a
smart.
message. You keep sending terror, we'll stop sending rivers. In agriculture-dependent Pakistan, where 70% of the water comes from these rivers, this hit hard.
Well,
the government
yeah.
issued press releases, held emergency meetings,
That's
and
scary.
called it a violation. But legally, India hadn't broken anything. It had simply stopped playing nice. Meanwhile, back at the line of control, things got hotter, literally. Small gunfire exchanges began almost
I mean, like, this is kind of how I see something like that. Is like, I think cutting off their water supply is fucking awful, right?
But they deserve
It
it.
is. But I think that what they're saying is like in the same way
Sometimes
that
you gotta
the
break some
Pakistani
omelets to
government,
make an egg.
I think is probably playing stupid with these terrorist organizations. They're gonna play stupid with the treaty
Yeah.
as well.
It's like, you know, the old, it's just like how the old Hindu saying, fuck around and find out. What was it? Mawahi, Ati, Hasar, Halar, Hamad. And that means whoever denied it, supplied it. And also, whoever did the rhyme. Whoever made the rhyme does the crime.
I think that seems like kind
Or
of what's
did
going
the
on.
crime.
days.
episode of South Park.
That's what they think is happening.
System, drone intrusions, sniper activity, and unmanned surveillance aircrafts being taken down. But that wasn't all. For the first time in over a year, Indian Air Force fighter jets began routine patrols across northern air zones, especially near the borders. Troop movement increased. Tanks were spotted near forward bases. Special forces began training drills close to the border.
Wow.
This wasn't war, but it wasn't peace either.
can see
Pakistan,
that.
already reeling from an economic crisis, a falling currency, and skyrocketing inflation, suddenly had to
good.
prepare for something it wasn't ready for:
guys are
escalation.
slick. You guys are
While
slick.
Indian military analysts discussed precision response and surgical strikes, Pakistani generals were seen holding late-night emergency meetings. And the civilians? They were lining up for
Yeah.
basic groceries. As flour prices doubled and fuel became scarce, public trust in the government hit rock bottom. But
Yeah,
did that
that's-
stop the military elite?
I would not want to be living in one of those
Pakistan's
countries, dude.
leadership has
I don't know
often
what I would do
operated
in a
with the
situation
mindset
like
of
that. Probably start
strategic
shitting on
depth,
myself.
keeping the India conflict alive to justify its military control over internal affairs. But this time,
I don't
with
know.
international pressure building and their
Look at those
economy in
people rioting,
freefall,
dude.
their bluff might just be called.
Wow.
At this moment, India hasn't launched a full-blown military strike, but the chessboard is set. Tensions are the highest they've been in years.
It's
Troops
crazy that both of these countries have nukes too, which is
Yeah.
what's nuts.
are alert.
So if
Borders
shit does
are
go
open.
down, dude, they
Diplomats
could
are
potentially,
working
like,
overtime,
fucking nuke
and
each
across
other,
both
man.
countries, citizens
Kinda
are
scary to
wondering,
think about.
is this the start of something big?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think it probably will.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. Hopefully, you know, everybody keep their hopes up high. You know, that hopefully this doesn't escalate to fucking, you know, World War III or some shit. Like how he's probably gonna fucking say. It's the last thing we all fucking need right now, especially with how the state of everything is. Like we literally just left COVID, dude. Like the whole basically world economy is like fucked. Like we really do not need a war right now. But what I do need is fucking sleep. I'm fucking exhausted. I'll catch you guys in the next video. And peace, YouTube. Later.